Hello my lovely friends, brothers and sisters. It's our 3.6 lecture and we will have our numericals related to 3.4 and 3.5. By the way, our first examples will be easy and we will continue with up to complicated examples. Maybe we will have 2 or 3 lectures related to 3.4 and 3.5. By the way, please find a place and pick up your notebooks. First, write the question, solve it with your own self. If you couldn't, then you can click on the play button and watch how we can solve. By the way, one thing before starting the lesson, if you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe and like our videos. If we have and broadcast the best lectures on YouTube. If we do not, then you can dislike our video. By the way, our first example, sine x is equal to 5 by 13. Now what sine x by 2 is, cosine x by 2 is. It's a very easy example. First, in trigonometry, you have to relate the angle. You have to relate the angle. What the angle is, this is x by 2 and this one is x. It means x by 2 is half of the x. It means relation between half and degree and its own angle. Or we can say related between alpha and 2 alpha. Now, we know one thing, the half angles related with its own angle, we know according to cosine. I mean in terms of cosine. What do I mean? We know that sine alpha is 1 minus cosine 2 alpha by 2. Do we know this one or not? And also we know cosine of alpha is 1 plus cosine of 2 alpha divided by 2. This is the relation between half and the angle. Half and the angle. If this one is alpha by 2, this one is alpha. If this one is alpha by 2, sine of alpha by 2. With cosine, we know 1 minus cosine of 2 times of this one. This one is alpha by 2. And we know cosine of alpha by 2 is 1 plus cosine of alpha by 2. If this one is x by 2, this is x. If this one is x by 2, so this is x. Now, what we can observe from here, we know that sine of the angle is given, sine of half of the angle is asked. So according to fundamental identity of the trigonometry, we know that sine square of every angle plus cosine square of that angle is 1. Now, what cosine of x is? Cosine of x is root 1 minus sine square of x or not? Yes. Now, we know this one. So, cosine x is equal to 1 minus, instead of sine x, 5 by 13. 5 by 13 whole square. Now, cosine x is equal to 1 minus 5 square is 25, 13 square is 169. Now we have cosine x is 1 times 169, 169 minus this one, 144 divided by 169. Am I right? Yes. Now cosine of x is plus minus 1 root of 144 is 12, root of 169 is 13. Now, it means the cosine of the angle can be plus negative, where the angle is located in which quadrant? Between pi and pi by 2. I'm sorry, this one is pi, this is pi by 2. Angle is located between pi and pi by 2. If the angle is located between pi and pi by 2, so it is in second quadrant. If this one is in second quadrant, cosine in second quadrant is negative. So cosine of x is minus 12 by 13. Now, cosine of the angle is given. Half of the angle we can find. What do I mean? Sine of x by 2 is 1 minus cosine of what? Cosine of x by 2. Half angle, its own angle. Now, put the value 1 minus, instead of cosine, minus, with this minus it's 12 by 13 divided by 2. Am I right? Yes. Sine x by 2 is 1 times 13. 13 plus 12, it is 25. 25 divided by 2 plus 2 times 13 is 26. So it gives what? Plus negative. Now which value is correct? What's the value for this one? Sine of x by 2 is plus minus 5 by root 26. Am I right or not? Yes. Now which one is correct? In here you have to make the quadrant for x by 2. The quadrant for x is given. Quadrant for x is given, which is between pi and pi by 2. Between pi and pi by 2. Now divide all side by 2, so you have pi by 4, and this one is x by 2, and this one is pi by 2. Between pi by 2 and pi by 4, so it is in first quadrant. Why? This is 90 degree and this one is 45 degree. Angle should be greater than 45 and smaller than 90. I mean this is in first quadrant. If this one is in first quadrant, so positive is correct. Plus 5 by root 26. Now what is cosine? Cosine of x by 2 is equal to 1 plus cosine of x divided by 2, according to this formula. Yes. Now we have cosine of x by 2 is equal to, am I right or not? Yes. 1 plus, instead of cosine x, negative minus 12 by 13. So it is negative 12 by 13 divided by 2. Now you have cosine of x by 2 is 1 times 13. 13 minus 12, it is 1. 2 times 13 is 26. Now what's the root? Plus negative 1 by root 26. Am I right or not? Which one is correct? Plus or negative? Alhamdulillah. Since angle is located in the first quadrant, so positive is correct. This is the answer for cosine of x by 2 and sine of x by 2. Write it please. Question number 2. Cosine of 20x is equal to 1 minus 8 sine square of 5x plus 8 sine to the power 4 of 5x. You have to prove that this LHS should be the same like RHS. By the way, first you have to find the relation of the angles. Now, what do you think? 26, 20x and 5x. 5x is fourth time of 20x. It means we have to half the 20x, which is 10. Then we have to half the 10x, which is 5. So from here we can say that cosine of 20x according to its half, it has got three formulas. 1. Cosine square of its half, which is 10x, minus sine square of 10x. The second one, 2 cosine square of 10x minus 1. And the third one, 1 minus 2 sine square of 10x. Now what do you think? First one, second one, third one. Which one we should use here? I think third one. Why? Because in the answer or in RHS we have sine and sine. We do not have any cosine. So according to this one we can say that cosine of 20x is equal to 1 minus 2 sine square of 10x. Now we have to half this one. Once again we have one formula, which is sine of 2 alpha is 2 sine of its half and cosine of its half. Am I right or not? Yes. So here can we write this one, 1 minus 2 sine of 10x whole square? Yes, we can do. If this one is 2 alpha, so what's the formula for this one? The formula is 2 sine of its half, cosine of its half. So we can say cosine of 20x is equal to 1 minus 2 bracket, this one is 2 sine of its half, 5x times cosine of its half, which is 5x whole square. This 2 belongs to all part. Am I right? Yes. So we can say that 1 minus 2, this 2 square, 4 sine square of 5x times cosine square of 5x. x. Now I will open the bracket. We have cosine of 10x is equal to this 2 multiplied by this 1 minus 2 times 4, it is 8, sine square of 5x times cosine square of 5x. Instead of this cosine square, can I write 1 minus sine square? Yes, we can do. Cosine of 10x is 1 minus 8 sine square of 5x. Open a bracket and write 1 minus sine square of 5x. Am I right? Yes. Now you can open this bracket, solve it. 1 minus 8 times this one, it's 8 sine square of 5x. Negative with this negative, it's positive. 8 times this one, 8 sine to the power 4 of 5x. I think it is proved. Write it, please. Question number 3. Sine x is given 8 by 17. X is between pi by 2 and pi. It means in first quadrant. Now, what sine x by 2 is and sine 2x is. One thing you know, that if we define a one trigonometric ratios of an angle, we are able to define every trigonometric ratios. What do I mean? If sine x is given 8 by 17, now what cosine x is? Cosine x is root 1 minus sine square of the x. Am I right? Yes. Now cosine x is 1 minus sine x is 8 by 17. 8 by 17 whole square. So cosine x is 1 minus 8 square is 64, and this one is 289, I think. Am I right? 17 square is 289. So cosine x is 1 times 289, 289 minus 64. 289 minus 64 by 289. Now 289 minus this one is 225 by 289. Now the root is 15 by 17, but plus negative. Plus negative. So positive, negative. Now what answer is correct, positive or negative? Since the angle is occurred in first quadrant, so cosine x is also in first quadrant, and in first quadrant cosine is positive. So this is our cosine x, and we can define tangent. Tangent is sine divided by cosine. If you are able to define sine, cosine, tangent, you are able to define other inverse term also, cotangent, secant and cosecant. By the way, now what sine x by 2 is? Sine x by 2 is, how many relation do we have for x by 2? Whatever relation do you have, so try to relate the angles. X by 2 is half of the x, so relation between half of the angle with its angle. So cosine x by 2 is 1 minus cosine of double terms of this one divided by 2. Am I right or not? Yes. So from here we can define sine x by 2 is 1 minus, instead of cosine x, 15 by 17. 15 by 17 divided by 2. So sine x by 2 is 1 times 17, 17, 17 minus this one, it is 2. And 2 times 17, it is 34. What's the root? The root is positive, negative. It's cancelled. 1 divided by root 17. Now, which answer is correct, positive or negative? Try to define the quadrant of x by 2. The quadrant of x is given. Pi by 2 is smaller than x, smaller than pi. So what's the quadrant for x by 2? Divide all side by 2. It is pi by 4, smaller than x by 2, smaller than pi by 2. From pi by 2, it should be smaller and greater than pi by 4. It means first quadrant, once again. So in first quadrant, sine x by 2 is also positive. It is our answer. Now, what sine 2x is? Sine 2x. Sine 2x, I think this one is 2 sine x and cosine x. Now, you have cosine x also, you have sine x. So we can define sine 2x is 2, instead of sine x, 8 by 17. Times, instead of cosine x, 15 by 17. Am I right? Yes. Now sine 2x is 2 times 8. It is 16. 16 times 15. 16 times 15. What the 15 is? 225. 115 more? I think 240. And 17, this is 289. Am I right? Yes. So what the answer is? Positive or negative? Now you have to define the quadrant for 2x. X is given between pi and pi by 2. So multiply all side by 2. You will have pi. This one is x. This one is 2 pi. Between pi and 2 pi. Between pi and 2 pi. I mean greater than pi, greater than this one, and smaller than 2 pi. So it should be maybe in third quadrant or fourth quadrant. Maybe in third quadrant or fourth quadrant. In third and fourth quadrant, sign is negative. So the answer should be negative 240 by 289. I think you have got. Right, please. Question number 4. Sin x is 3 by 5. Now what sin 3x is and cosine 3x is? One thing I request from you, which is if one trigonometric ratios of an angle is given, try to find all of them. I mean all of them is sine, cosine and tangent. What do I mean? If sine x 3 by 5. Now what cosine x? Cosine x is 1 minus sine square of the x. Am I right or not? Yes. Cosine x is 1 minus, instead of sine x, 3 by 5 whole square, which is 9 by 25. Now simplify this one. Cosine x is 1 times 25 minus this one 16 by 25, which is 4 by 5. Now plus or negative? Positive or negative? Angle is greater than 0 and smaller than pi by 2. It means first quadrant. I'm sorry, in the previous lecture, I think it was in second quadrant. Okay, whatever it is. So cosine x is in first quadrant, sine x. If sine x is in first quadrant, cosine x is also in first quadrant, so this is positive. Positive 4 by 5. Am I right or not? Yes. Now, what sine 3x is? Sine 3x is, we have proved the formula for this one. It is 3 sine x minus 4 sine cube of the x. Am I right? Yes. Now, sine 3x is 3. Instead of sine x, we have 3 by 5. Minus 4, 3 by 5 whole cube. Now sine 3x is 3 times 3, 9 by 5 minus 4, 3 square is 27, 5 cube is 125. Am I right? Yes. So sine 3x is 9 by 5 minus 4 times this one, 4 times 27, it is what? 108 divided by 125. 4 times 7, 28. 4 times 2, 8. 8 plus 2, it's 108. Yes, sine 3x is. Now we have your factors in denominator 125. 125 divided by this one is 25. 9 times 25. 9 times 25. 9 times 25. I think 225. Am I right? 9 times 25. Yes. Minus 125 divided by 125, it's 1 times this one, 108. Now sine 3x is 225 minus this one, 15 minus this one, it is 7. We have 0, 1, and we have here 2 minus 1, it is 1 by 125. Now please find the quadrant. If our x is between this one, what our 3x is? Our 3x is, x is between pi by 2 and 0. So multiply by 3, it is 0, 3x, and this one is 3 pi. 0 and 3 pi. Where 0 and 3 pi is? we have 0, 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. It means 0 and 3 pi. It means maybe in first quadrant or maybe in second quadrant. After one revolution is 2 pi. Another revolution, half of its revolution is 3 pi. So between 0 and 3 pi, I mean maybe in first and second quadrant. If this one is between first and second quadrant, so the answer would be positive. Am I right? Yes. Now, what cosine 3x is? Cosine 3x is 4 cosine cube x minus 3 cosine x. Now you know what? You know cosine of x, which is 4 by 5. So 4 by 5 whole cube minus 3 4 by 5. Am I right? Yes. Cosine of 3x is 4 cube 64, 5 cube 125 minus 3 times 4 12 by 5. Now cosine of 3x is 4 times 64. 4 times 64 256 by 125 minus 12 by 5. Now please solve it with your own self. Continue this one. And find the quadrant. If you could, then please write the answer on the comment section. Write it, please. Question number 5. Cosine 20 times cosine 40 times cosine 80. I think in this lecture we had up to now we have our easiest example. Maybe after this question and in the upcoming lectures, we will have our most interesting and complicated examples related to 3.4 and 3.5. Please do not forget us. Cosine 20 degree, cosine 40 degree, cosine 80 degree. Okay, how we can find the solution? One thing you know, in multiplication case, we had one formula, which is sine of 2x is 2 sine of x times cosine of x. What do I mean? If I have 2 sine x cosine x, we can write sine 2x. If I have 2 sine x cosine x, I can write sine 2x. What do I mean? I mean, if I have cosine 20 times cosine 40 and cosine 80 degree. Now, can I write here sine 20 and one sine 20 here? Yes, we can do. It can be cancelled. Can I put 1 2 here and 1 2 here? Yes. So this is, I think, sine 2x. If this one is x, so it would be sine 40 times cosine 40 times cosine 80 divided by 2 sine 20. Am I right? Yes. If I name this one x and name this one x, can I put 1 2 more here and 1 2 more here? Yes, we can do. So this one is sine 2x. I mean sine 2x 240, which is 80 degree, times cosine 80 degree. Now 2 times 2, it's 4 sine 20. Can I put once again 1 2 here and 1 2 here? Yes, we can do. So this one is sine of 2x, which is what? Which is sine 2 times 80, it is 160 degree, divided by 2 times 4, it is 8 sine 20. Now, can I write this one, the numerator, pi minus 20 degree? Yes, we can do. Pi is 180 minus 20, this is 160, divided by 8 sine 20 degree. So sine of pi minus alpha, an angle. What this one is? It is sine of alpha, which is 20. In second quadrant, it is positive, divided by 8 sine 20 degree. So this is cancelled. The answer is 1 by 8. Write it, please. Question number 6. A is given, root 2 cosine 2x by cosine x minus sin x minus cosine 2x divided by 1 minus root 2 sin x plus cosine 2x divided by 1 minus root 2 cosine x. Now what A is? It means what's the solution for this statement. By the way, first you have to relate the angles. This is double of this one. So you have to define this one in half terms. How we can define? A is equal root 2. And instead of this one, can I write cosine square of the x minus sine square of its x? Yes. Cosine square of sine minus sine square, it's cosine 2x. So divided by cosine x minus sine x. Minus. And instead of this one, we have for cosine 3 solution. For cosine of 2 alpha, we have 3 statement. Cosine square of alpha minus sine square of alpha. And 1 minus 2 sine square of alpha, and also you have 2 cosine square of alpha minus 1. Now for the first term we had cosine and sine, so I use the first formula. For the second one we have 1 and sine, I will use this statement. Instead of cosine 2x, can I write 1 minus 2 sine square of the x? Yes, we can do. So what's in denominator? 1 minus root 2 sine x plus, am I right? Yes. Now can I write this one negative root 2 cosine x minus 1? Yes, we can do, because it will take this shape. So this minus with this one is minus, and minus with this minus, it is positive. And instead of cosine 2x, I will write this formula: 2 cosine square of the x minus 1. 2 cosine square of the half of this angle, which is x, minus 1. Am I right? Yes. Now if this one is right, I will multiply these signs. So positive with negative, it is negative, and open the bracket. Can we do? Yes. A is given, so root 2. You will have the factor for this one, cosine x minus sine x, and cosine x plus sine x, divided by cosine x minus sine x. It's very simple. Minus, can I have the factor for this one? 1 minus root 2 sine x times 1 plus root 2 sine x. Yes, we can do. Why? Because I can write this one 1 square minus root 2 sine x whole square. This one is a, this one is b. A square minus b square. So a minus b, a plus b. This one divided by 1 minus root 2 sine x minus, this one is also the same, root 2 cosine x minus 1 and root 2 cosine x plus 1. Can we do this one? Yes. So root 2 cosine x minus 1. This is cancelled here. This is cancelled and it's cancelled. A is root 2 times this one, root 2 cosine x plus root 2 sine x. Open this bracket. Negative with this one, it is minus 1 minus 2 minus root 2 sine x. Open that bracket also. Minus root 2 cosine x minus 1. This one is cancelled with this one. This is cancelled with this one. So our answer is negative 1, negative 1. I think negative 2. Write it, please. Question number 7. 4 cosine square 9 minus 3 times 4 cosine square of 27 minus 3. It should be equal to tangent of 9. Now you have to prove this one. The LHS should be the same like RHS. By the way, it's very simple. One thing you have to know, if you have the numbers of 4 and 9, it means it is the formula for cosine of 3x or sine of 3x. Why? Because for sine of 3x, we had the formula 3 sine x minus 4 sine cube of x. And for cosine of 3x, we had 4 cosine cube of x minus 3 sine x. Now in here also we have 4 and 3, or 3 and 4. We have 4 and 3, but we don't have cosine cube, we have cosine square. So what I should do, 4 cosine square of 9 minus 3, do not multiply both brackets. Why? Because the angles are not same. If the angles are not same, you won't have any profit from the multiplication of the brackets. So in here I will multiply cosine of this angle, which is 9, and cosine of the 9 I will divide. Why? Because it can be cancelled. Why you multiply cosine of 9? Because cosine of 9 with this one, it would be cosine cube, and we have to find cosine cube. Okay, in the second bracket, what do you think? You have 4, in the second one, you have 4 cosine square 27 minus 3 or not? Yes. Now 1 cosine of 27 here, and 1 you have to divide. Now in here, this cosine 9 with this one, it is 4 cosine cube of 9 minus 3 cosine of 9 divided by cosine of 9. Am I right? Yes. Multiplied by this one is 4 cosine square with this one, cosine cube of 27 minus 3 cosine of 27 divided by cosine of 27. Am I right? Yes. Now we have the formula for cosine of 3x in here. If this one is x, 4 cosine cube of x minus 3 cosine x, it is 4 cosine of 3x. Cosine of 3 times 9, it is 27 divided by cosine of 9. Here also, if this one is alpha, this one is alpha, 4 cosine cube of alpha minus 3 cosine of alpha. According to that formula, you will have cosine of 3 alpha, which is cosine of 3 times 27, 81, divided by cosine of 25. All of these angles are in terms of degree. So this is cancelled. Am I right? Yes. Now you have, can I write here 1 divided by cosine of 9? Instead of this one, we can write cosine of pi by 2 minus 9. Yes, pi by 2 is 90. 90 degree minus 9, it is 81. Now denominator is 1, I think. So you will have 1 by cosine of 9. Here, cosine pi by 2 minus 9, it is changed. Cosine changed to sine, sine of 9. Pi by 2 minus 1, minus alpha. This is in first quadrant. In first quadrant, cosine is positive, which is positive. Now this one is sine of 9 by cosine of 9, which is tangent of 9. I think it is proved. Write it, please. By the way, my lovely brothers and sisters, it's sufficient for today. We will have our most interesting examples and complicated ones in the upcoming lectures, inshallah. See you soon. Allah Hafiz.